FoxBangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Today on Good Morning Maine, 6 people were arrested yesterday in Waterville during a string of drug busts that involved the trafficking of fentanyl. Plus, legislative work continues in Augusta to create an additional regional ambulance service to help relieve local departments. And a brand new Mustang recently fell off a truck en route during transport. We'll hear why local kids were in charge of restoring it. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith and thank you for tuning in this morning. My colleague Craig Colson is quite sick right now. There's something going around, so make sure to wash those hands and cover your mouths when you cough and all of that good stuff. Either way, it's cold, it's chilly, it just feels like flu season. So here's Devin Biggs with that forecast.
Hey Emma, thank you very much. We have a small crowd advisory that is posted along the coast and now lasts until about Wednesday morning at around the midnight time frame as we're watching for some active surf on this Tuesday morning. Meanwhile, temperatures got rather cold overnight, although so far we've had some places like Bangor hit 0 degrees, still above 0 in Washington County. However, I'm sure if you look toward the northern parts of the state, a lot colder temperatures being observed there this morning. Meanwhile, we're rather quiet this morning for the time being. We will be under a partly cloudy sky today with a slight chance for some snow flurries in a few spots. Let's zoom things out. The rest of the Northeast is rather quiet, but look at this, a system developing that's bringing some snow to other parts of the country. At this moment in time, we'll have our turn for a system to pass through later on this week. But futurecast in the short term, partly cloudy today, slight chance for flurries early tonight before the clouds begin to break up. Some gusty winds today reaching up to about 25 miles per hour at times. Those will calm down overnight and looking pretty good for the daytime tomorrow. So for today, we have upper 20s, partly cloudy, a few flurries out there. Southwest wind getting up to around 25 miles per hour. Tonight, 0 degrees, partly cloudy, a few flurries. North wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing clouds moving in, slight chance for flurries. Temperatures warming into the 20s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Emma?
Thank you, Devin. We'll have a look at that full 5-day a little later on. Well, 2 pets were lost in a Charleston fire yesterday evening. According to the Charleston Fire Chief, Ethan Amaro, a call went out just after 7 p.m. for a structure fire at 1026 Dover Road in Charleston. When crews arrived, they found a fully involved camper and a building. According to Amaro, harsh conditions added extra difficulty in combating the flames.
It's been particularly difficult as far as the weather and the temperatures, and just manpower wise we've had to reach out to departments as far away as Milo and Guilford and down through to Kenduskeag and Alton, and so it's been hard with the weather and the temps, but we've been able to make it work.
The occupants of the camper were able to get out safely, but they did lose 2 pets in the fire. The fire marshal's office is investigating the cause. A Norridge Walk man remains behind bars, charged with murder. Kendall Purnell was arraigned for his alleged involvement in a murder and an aggravated assault on Friday. Our Alex Schley has the latest.
A Norridge Walk man accused of murder appeared in court Monday. Kendall Purnell was arraigned on charges related to a deadly incident Friday night.
Count 1, intentional, unknowing, or depraved indifference murder with respect to a Harold Burgess, and in count 2, elevated aggravated assault with respect to one Sean.
If convicted, Maine Superior Court Chief Justice Robert Mullins says Purnell could spend decades in jail.
Count 1 is punishable by a minimum mandatory sentence of 25 years to life. Count 2, the maximum sentence is up to 30 years in prison.
According to Maine State Police, Somerset County first responders were dispatched around 11:30 Friday night.
It's going to be 40 Walnut Drive in Norridge.
Scanner transmission archived by Broadcastify captured the moment first responders entered the home.
The residence is secure. Deputies are on scene. You're all set to enter.
One responsive, one non-responsive.
Upon arriving, deputies reported finding 71-year-old Harold Burgess deceased and 38-year-old Sean Hagan with severe head injuries. According to court records, Purnell allegedly beat Hagan with a 2x4. Hagan was taken to a local hospital before being life-flighted to Eastern Maine Medical Center in Bangor. According to a press release from Maine State Police, Law enforcement in the surrounding area were told to be on the lookout for Purnell, who was last seen driving the homeowner's vehicle. Around 1 a.m. Saturday, Waterville police spotted the vehicle at an Irving gas station on Kennedy Memorial Drive. Purnell was identified and taken to the Waterville police station for questioning before being arrested and booked into the Somerset County Jail. Purnell's next court date has not been set. In Skowhegan, I'm Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The bodies of 2 people were found Monday morning in woods not far from the city of Portland's homeless shelter. Portland police have identified the victims. They say both men were homeless. As Brad Rogers reports, friends of the victims say they believe the men may have died of exposure.
A man from Sudan, now living in Portland, says he found the 2 bodies at 7 Monday morning on a trail that leads from Forest Avenue to the Hannaford supermarket on Riverside.
It was both my friends.
Deng Mayashol recognized the victims laying in the snow. Police identified them 57-year-old William Lease and 44-year-old Lee Thomas Johnson.
They're frozen. I don't know what happened. I have no idea.
He says he ran to Hannaford and called police. The bodies were taken to the medical examiner to determine a cause of death. People we spoke with who wanted to remain anonymous say the 2 victims had beds at the nearby Homeless Services Center.
One of them just got a job. The other one is looking for work, and I don't know exactly what happened.
You have no idea why they were in the woods?
I have no idea at all.
A city spokesperson says the deaths are under investigation and could not confirm that the 2 men were staying at the Homeless Services Center, which is about 300 yards from where the bodies were found. Any idea what they were doing in the woods?
I believe they were just hanging out. You know, a lot of us hang out there. You know, it's like a hangout spot, you know, to be away from the stress of the shelter.
The city has identified 5 current or former homeless encampments within a mile of the Homeless Services Center. Under Mayor Mark Dion, unless shelter beds are full, homeless encampments are not allowed and must be dismantled.
And that was Brad Rogers reporting. 4 people are facing charges after police searched a Waterville apartment. It was the result of what police say was a months-long investigation related to the sale of fentanyl and cocaine base in Waterville. 45-year-old Bradford Webb, 36-year-old Katie Danforth, and 33-year-old Stephen Silcox lived in the apartment on Kennedy Memorial Drive. They were all arrested for aggravated trafficking, possession of a firearm by a prohibited person, and criminal conspiracy. Danforth was also on probation and had 10 warrants for her arrest. 47-year-old Nicholas Hunter was in the apartment at the time of the search. Police say he had 3 warrants for his arrest. Officials say another search by Waterville police and the Maine Drug Enforcement Agency intercepted a large amount of cocaine base and fentanyl being trafficked into the state of Maine. Authorities searched 36-year-old Andre Jones of the Bronx, New York, as he returned to Maine. Police say they found he was in possession of nearly 300 grams of cocaine base and almost 30 grams of fentanyl. Jones is charged with 2 counts of aggravated trafficking. His bail is set at $25,000. The investigation is ongoing. All right, the time now is 6:08. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, as one of our local firefighters returns from LA, they'll share what they learned from fighting the massive wildfires there and how it could help departments here in Maine. But before we go, let's take another quick look at that frigid forecast. Partly cloudy today, we are likely to see a few flurries like we were yesterday. I don't believe we got any in Bangor, and I believe Devin said that yesterday. They are likely in surrounding towns. Tonight it's going to be frigid, again, way below freezing, with a low of around 0. Partly cloudy. Tomorrow, just partly cloudy again, but colder than the past 2 days. High of 22 degrees for your Wednesday. We'll be right back.
With winter upon us, you'll want to feel safe on the road. So take action right now by heading to your Toyota all-wheel drive headquarters for our Washington's Birthday Sales Event, where you could get $4.99 for $60 on an all-wheel drive Camry hybrid with elevated design and an outstanding safety rating. Plus, get 2 years no-cost maintenance. Hurry in and save on a vehicle from the longest-lasting brand, Toyota. See your New England Toyota dealer, your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
You know what today is? It's Tuesday. But no matter what day of the week, Lowry & Associates is your go-to law firm. If you've been hurt, call us right now.
If you're hurt in an accident, what do you do? Call 222-2222.
I love your nervous smile, your giant heart, and knowing what melts you.
The irresistibly smooth chocolate of Lindor, made to melt the one you love this Valentine's.
Put a little more cash in your bank. Save money with half-off deals at foxbangor.com.
In this courtroom,
I see somebody who's lying to me.
if you lied,
You have zero evidence.
you will be
I'm screwed.
denied.
Is he lying?
He was intoxicated.
What? Real cases.
What about that?
Real litigants.
You got denied.
The People's Court.
All this week at 4 on ABC 7.
Towns in southern Penobscot County may be one step closer to getting the green light for establishing a regional ambulance service after a public hearing yesterday. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bichard has the story.
It really seems to make sense to regionalize this so that we have timely responses to crisis situations.
Representative Kenneth Fredette, a Republican from Newport, is talking about his bill LD 176, an act to establish a regional ambulance service in southern Penobscot County. He says while on the campaign trail, the Corinna Fire Department reached out to him about problems with EMS in the southern Penobscot area.
Yeah, what we understand is that Northern Light is going to be sort of pulling back on the services that they have provided for ambulance services. We know that there are other ambulance services within the area that are also pulling back. And so we sort of see this slow-moving avalanche coming right towards us. And so we need to be proactive and try to get out in front of it.
Representative Fredette says the need for the service is widely recognized in the area, and he has already received bipartisan support for the idea and his plan for implementation.
EMS is considered an essential service under Maine law. This bill allows for ownership for the provision of this essential service to remain with the municipal officers of the towns. This is where accountability for providing these essential services should remain.
Representative Fredette adds, if the legislature doesn't act soon, the situation could go from bad to worse.
Well, again, I think they recognize that we are in a crisis situation. And again, that's about staffing, that's about capital cost, and it's about reimbursement rates. And we, frankly, all have to work together so that when we know someone picks that phone up and dials 911, that someone is not only on their way, but they're on their way in a timely way.
The bill will now face a work session before being voted on by the full legislature. At the State House, I'm Corey Bichard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A local firefighter has recently returned from across the country where he was assisting crews battling the wildfires that have devastated parts of California. Our Grace Blanchard shares insight into his experience and how it can help firefighters prepare for potential disasters in our state.
Augusta firefighter Richard Bodwin has seen and battled many fires over the years. But he says he's seen nothing as extreme as the latest wildfires in Southern California.
Those were some just major fire events. The weather, everything just timed up just right.
He and several other Maine firefighters and forest rangers were deployed to California after the majority of the resources out west were exhausted.
We were called kind of 2 days after the big ones that blew through, and we just went in support of what was potential to happen.
Though the worst of the flames had already passed when Bodwin arrived, Augusta's fire chief says he still returned with valuable insight.
So if we have something bigger here where we kick into the command system with its multiple layers, they're familiar with it. So not necessarily using them on the fire ground, but maybe at the command post with the knowledge that they've received through operating in something that large.
Chief Groder says Maine is no stranger to helping crews out west.
I went out back in 1989 when I first started, and these folks that have been out, they enjoy it, they learn a lot, so it didn't surprise me at all when they were called and he signed up for it.
Bodwin used vacation time to spend around 12 days out in the Golden State, and he says he would not hesitate to answer the call again.
Basically what it all comes down to is we're just there to help our fellow man, and whatever they need, we'll drive across the country and see what we can do.
In Augusta, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
More services are coming to the Augusta community soon for those experiencing homelessness in the area. The nonprofit United Community Living Center aims to assist unhoused individuals in the southern Kennebec County region. The organization recently received approval from the Augusta Planning Board to establish a low-barrier services center in Augusta. According to the nonprofit's board president, there is currently no daytime warming center in the area, and they hope to fill that gap.
This will provide the opportunity for folks to have a place to go where they're welcome to come and just hang out, or they can come and get access to services. So there will be no requirement to participate in services, but services will be available should people want to take advantage of them.
Some of the services they will offer include access to education, employment, and housing navigation. They are currently renovating a building on Spruce Street in Augusta, which will serve as the location of the center. St. Hilaire says they hope to start opening on weekends within the next 3 to 4 weeks and then plan to expand their hours as quickly as they can. All right, the time now is 6:16. After the break, a small group in northern Maine plans to make history by creating a floating ice carousel. We'll learn more, plus that full 5-day forecast coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Ghirardelli Intense Dark. Bold. Rich. Intensely delicious dark chocolate. Ghirardelli Intense Dark makes life a bite better.
If you're the most followed person on all of YouTube and you almost never do interviews, where do you come first?
All right, GMA interview. This will be fun.
This morning,
you're 26. How did this all come to be?
Mr. Beast tells all, only on
Good Morning America.
Don't cry, don't whine. Get yours where I got mine. At BB's Tattoo Company, 262 Moosehead Trail, Newport.
Your favorite restaurants for half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Go to foxbangor.com, click on half off dining, and start saving now.
Looking for a place the whole family will love? Gilmore's Restaurant has something for everyone. From legendary boneless wings to weekly specials and refreshing drinks, we're your neighborhood favorite. Whether it's family dinner or a night out, Gilmore's Restaurant is where memories are made. Family friendly and flavor packed? Visit us today.
Great restaurants from all over Eastern Maine at half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC.
A group in northern Maine is poised to carve out a small piece of history next month, right on the U.S.-Canadian border. From March 14th to the 16th, the Maine Ice Busters will be carving out the first ever international ice carousel in the middle of the St. John River. The plan is to carve out a carousel with a diameter of exactly 207 feet. The center of the carousel will be right on the border, so at all times, half will be in Van Buren, Maine, and the other half will be in St. Leonard, New Brunswick.
There's something magical that sort of happens when you step onto a rotating hunk of ice that weighs hundreds of tons. Our current world record weighs over 120,000 tons, and really, once it's turning, it only takes a breath to keep it turning. But to get it to turn is a monumental effort, and it's up to Mother Nature to decide whether she's going to let you do it or not.
The Ice Busters currently hold the world record for the world's largest ice carousel. To learn more about the organization and the International Ice Carousel event, check out this story on our website, foxbangor.com. Well, I'm glad he said it weighs a couple tons, because I would have gone up there and thought I could have just kicked off from the other part of the ice and just went turning, after that. That's a great way to put it. Okay, the time now is 6:19, and it's definitely freezing. It's definitely icy weather. So let's get a look at that full 5-day forecast with Devin Biggs.
Hey, Emma, thank you very much. We have a small craft advisory that is posted until midnight as we head towards early Wednesday morning. We will still be dealing with some active surf, at least until that time frame for the highlighted areas. Let's check in on the wave heights. Not too bad at the moment at around 2 to 3 feet according to the buoys. A little further out towards sea, still a little bit more active at around 3 to 7 feet. We'll see this area pick up a little bit today with some gusty winds that will be on the way. In the short term right now, we're rather quiet this morning. We'll be under a partly cloudy sky today. Slight chances for flurries will exist today and early this evening before the clouds begin to break up. Meanwhile, while the northeast is quiet, we have a bigger system that's starting to develop, bringing some showers, even some storms to a few spots of the U.S. and snow to other areas as well. We will be watching for a system that will be passing through later on this week that will give us the opportunity for a wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. In the short term, though, we will be under a partly cloudy sky today with a slight chance for flurries. Also a slight chance for flurries early this evening that will be tapering off overnight as the clouds break up. And then for tomorrow, sunshine to start. Overall, a pretty nice day. A few passing clouds later on. By Wednesday night to Thursday morning, clouds move in ahead of our next system, which will start off as snow. So let's talk about the system that will be moving in Wednesday night to parts of Thursday morning. By Thursday morning, we have gusty winds starting off as a little bit of snow, and then throughout the day, we will have warmer air moving in. So by around the afternoon, that wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow will be possible in some areas. Notice maybe even some rain along the coast, but this system will be a fast mover as it tracks off to the north and east. There it is by 7 p.m. Still hitting parts of the eastern areas of Maine, but then it will start to clear out Thursday night into parts of Friday morning. We'll break this down a little bit more as we get a bit closer. In the short term for today, gusty winds up to 20 to 25 miles per hour today are possible. Calming down later on tonight, especially calming down as we head towards the daytime tomorrow. So for today, we have upper 20s, partly cloudy, a few flurries, southwest wind getting up to around 25 miles per hour. And then by tonight, 0 degrees, partly cloudy, a few flurries out there, especially early on. North wind getting up to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow, lower 20s, partly cloudy, north wind at about 5 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast showing a wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow likely on Thursday with highs in the low 30s. Valentine's Day, mostly sunny, highs in the low 20s. Mid-20s Saturday, mostly cloudy with a slight chance for snow.
When you're ready to tackle your next building project, depend on the knowledge and experience of Hammond Lumber Company. Hammond's Home Planning Center will turn your ideas into accurate conceptual drawings, and 3D visualization is available. Your Hammond sales rep will prepare a materials list and cost estimate. And when you buy all of your materials from them, Hammond will refund all of your design fees. Hammond can deliver your order from any of their 22 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner since 1953.
Dragon Slayer Arcade now has 2 locations inside the Bangor Mall. Dragon Slayer has birthday party packages starting at just $50, which provides you with a designated area for you and your friends, which includes pizza and drinks. Dragon Slayer is all about birthday parties and would love for you to spend your next birthday with us. Give Dragon Slayer a call today to schedule your next birthday party. 860-462-1843.
It is tournament time, and ABC7 is your home for tournament coverage. Watch ABC7 News at 6 and 11 for all your highlights and interviews as our high school teams go for that gold ball. And get the latest high school bracket information at WVII.com.
Brought to you by Coastal Auto Parts, your local Napa Auto Parts dealer with 30 locations, owned and operated by a Maine family that cares. And Dorsey Furniture, Route 1A Holden, great quality furniture and Bangor's largest in-stock mattress selection. Free statewide delivery.
Save thousands on your new garage doors during the double rebate event at PDQ Door. Choose from several beautiful Clopay garage doors and get up to a $250 online rebate, and PDQ Door will instantly double it to save you $500. Buy 4 garage doors and get up to $1,000 in rebates, and PDQ Door will instantly double it to save you $2,000. Find a door you adore during our double rebate event for a limited time only.
There's one number you need to know. It's called Joe.
This morning, President Donald Trump meets with the King of Jordan. It's a high-stakes meeting about the future of the Middle East. Jordan is one of the countries Trump is pressuring to take in Palestinians from Gaza. It comes as Trump issues an ultimatum to Hamas. ABC's Perry Russum is in Washington.
This morning, a high-stakes meeting in the Oval Office between President Trump and the King of Jordan, one of the countries Trump is pressuring to take in Palestinians from Gaza. Trump says he is open to withholding billions of dollars in aid to both Jordan and Egypt if the countries refuse to take in Palestinians.
Yeah, maybe. Sure. Why not?
Trump issuing an ultimatum to Hamas during this fragile ceasefire deal with Israel.
As far as I'm concerned, if all of the hostages aren't returned by Saturday at 12 o'clock, I think it's an appropriate time. I would say cancel it and all bets are off and let hell break out.
More than 70 hostages still remain in Gaza, taken captive during the October 7th attack. Trump making the comment while announcing new 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports.
Our nation requires steel and aluminum to be made in America, not in foreign lands.
The move could help domestic manufacturers of steel and aluminum, but could also raise the cost for businesses and ultimately American consumers. Experts warn construction materials and cars could end up costing more.
Let us work! Let us work!
Outside the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau in Washington, federal workers protesting after their agency was essentially shut down by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. CFPB protects Americans against fraud from banks and corporations, created after the 2008 financial crisis. Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren on MSNBC.
This is an agency that literally, over the 13 years it's been out there working, has recovered more than $21 billion that these big financial institutions have cheated people out of and actually returned the money to the people that they cheated.
Trump attacking the Bureau, saying it was set up to destroy people. He says closing it down is the right thing to do. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
The sweeping changes to the federal government keep on coming, or at least the president keeps announcing them. A series of federal judges, however, has so far blocked them at every turn. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
In the ongoing saga of Trump versus judges, the White House seems to be losing.
I've never seen so many temporary restraining orders issued in such a short period of time against the U.S. government.
Judges have blocked several of President Trump's major initiatives, including putting thousands of international aid workers on leave and attempting to end birthright citizenship.
We think the executive order on birthright is blatantly unconstitutional.
On Monday, a judge ordered the administration to follow his earlier ruling to unfreeze funding for medical research grants, while another judge in Massachusetts held a hearing on the legality of Trump's buyout offer to 2 million federal workers. Vice President J.D. Vance suggested on X that some of the rulings were illegal, writing, "Judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power."
You can't sweep that broadly. The president has authority to run the executive branch.
Now the administration is looking at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau after closing the headquarters and telling workers there to take the week off.
We are not giving up the fight to do our jobs and protect American consumers.
Many used the time off Monday to protest, saying the public needs them to police banks and fight scams. President Trump says the scams are coming from within the government.
We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse.
The White House is expected to appeal any legal losses all the way to the Supreme Court. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Protesters are upset about DOGE disruptions. The Department of Government Efficiency, headed by Elon Musk, is riling feathers at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Fox News correspondent Mark Meredith has more from Washington, D.C.
Protesters are calling on the Trump administration and its high-profile billionaire surrogate Elon Musk to change course and reopen the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Are you ready to say no to Elon Musk?
On Monday, CFPB's workers were told to stay home. Its Washington headquarters is now shut down, the White House ordering most employees to stop working, as critics say it's an attempt to loosen financial regulations.
The CFPB is there to make sure that Elon's new project can't scam you or steal your sensitive personal data.
CFPB was founded in 2011 after the Great Recession. The agency aims to protect Americans from financial fraud, abuse, and unfair practices. It says it's delivered more than $20 billion back to consumers, but not everyone sees it as a success.
And what they do is they prevent banks from engaging in what they're supposed to do.
Musk has long vowed to get rid of the agency, posting on X, CFPB, RIP. President Trump says overhauls, dismissals, and shutdowns are needed government-wide.
I got elected on making government better, more efficient, and smaller. And that's what we're doing.
On Capitol Hill, Trump surrogates insist change is long overdue.
We want to bring common sense back to our federal government and reduce spending.
More protests targeting President Trump's plans to shrink the federal government are planned on Wednesday. Demonstrators are expected to voice outrage over efforts to shut down the Department of Education. In Washington, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
Maine's Attorney General Aaron Frey has joined another coalition of attorneys general suing the Trump administration and other government agencies, this time for defunding medical and public health innovation research. The Attorney General says he, along with 21 other attorneys general, are suing the Trump administration, the Department of Health and Human Services, and the National Institutes of Health for unlawfully cutting funds that support cutting-edge medical and public health research at universities and research institutions across the country. The coalition is seeking an injunction barring the Trump administration and the NIH from implementing the across-the-board 15% rate cuts presented on Friday, February 7th, which create large budget gaps for universities and other research institutions. In other news, the UN AIDS chief says HIV infections could see a 6-time increase if U.S. support isn't replaced by others. President Donald Trump announced last month the U.S. would freeze all foreign assistance for 90 days, putting the future of many international programs into question. The head of the United Nations AIDS Agency says the number of new HIV infections could jump more than 6 times in the next 4 years as a result, meaning by 2029, there could be 8.7 million people newly infected with HIV and 6.3 million AIDS-related deaths. She also warned more persistent, resistant strains of the disease could emerge.
This will cost lives. If the American government doesn't change its mind and maintain its leadership, people are going to die because life-saving tools have been taken away from them.
HIV infections have been falling in recent years, with just 1.3 million new cases recorded in 2023. That's a 60% decline since the virus peaked in 1995. This, as a new disease-fighting tool is emerging, a twice-yearly shot showed complete protection against HIV in women and nearly as much in men. Experts say widespread use of the shot, in addition to other interventions, could end the disease as a public health problem in the next 5 years. And coming up on the second half of the newscast, when a brand new Mustang fell off their supply truck, a local car dealership decided to donate it to a good cause. We'll hear how students got the chance to learn from it as Good Morning Maine continues.
Come bowl a few games here at Bangor Brewer Bowling Lanes. We're one of the only candlepin bowling alley centers in Maine, conveniently located in the heart of Brewer. You always have the opportunity to simply bowl for fun. However, you can also join a league. We have youth leagues, adult and senior leagues. Now don't forget, we also host birthday parties for under $100, and gift certificates are also available. Give us a call right away at 989-3798 to make reservations for your birthday party today.
A new year and a new adventure with the perfect Chevy to take you anywhere. With pure power unleashed and future-forward technology. Because every mile matters and every path leads to new possibilities. Get $3,250 total cash allowance on this Silverado. Plus, current Chevy owners get an additional $2,500 total value when you trade in an eligible vehicle. Visit your Maine Chevy dealers.
You know what today is? It's Tuesday. But no matter what day of the week, Lowry & Associates is your go-to law firm. If you've been hurt, call us right now.
If you're hurt in an accident, what do you do? Call 222-2222.
Hi, Todd from Dorsey Furniture here with a great financing offer on beautiful new furniture. The new introductions are here, new sofas and sectionals from Flex Steel, a new cherry bedroom by Ben and Aaron, as well as a new collection of living rooms by Leather Italia. During the month of February, qualified buyers can enjoy new furniture and take 24 months to pay at 0% interest. On sale pricing plus 24-month interest-free financing makes right now a great time to transform your home. Live well, my friends.
Scudic & Bloom, a full-service, custom-designed florist, Main Street in Winter Harbor.
We can deliver one-of-a-kind, full-color flower arrangements
by custom floral designer me, Pam.
Delivering to Ellsworth and surrounding areas for any occasion.
Please visit scudicandbloom.com or call 844-SCUDIC.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. Today is Tuesday, February 11th, 2025, and today is National Guitar Day. Scholars generally agree that guitars were mentioned in literature as far back as the 13th century. But it wasn't until the late 19th century that the 5-string Baroque guitar made way for the modern 6-string. And it was in 1894 that Gibson invented a more durable mandolin-style guitar, which played louder than previous models. I believe his first name was Orville Gibson, revolutionizing music making. And then in 1931, the electric guitar was invented. So, if you play and you haven't picked up the guitar in a while, take this as your sign to get back into it. Or if you've been wanting to try to learn, I say this is a great day to consider that again. Okay, now let's look at some history. On this day in 1847, American inventor Thomas Edison was born, known especially for his co-creation of electricity. In 1879, the first weekly weather report started publishing in the United Kingdom. In 1929, the Vatican City received papal sovereignty as an enclave of Rome, becoming the world's smallest country. And in 1945, Franklin Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, and Joseph Stalin sat down to sign the Declaration of Liberated Europe, formally ending the Conference of the Big Three at Yalta. This meeting was to discuss and plan the post-war organization of Germany and Europe. And in 1990, after serving 27 years in prison, Nelson Mandela was released and subsequently began negotiations with the president, which ended apartheid in South Africa. And finally now, in 2012, American rhythm and blues singer Whitney Houston passed away at the age of 48. For birthdays today, we have actress Jennifer Aniston. She is 56 years old today. Musician Sheryl Crow is 63, and actor Taylor Lautner is 33 years old today. Some pretty big names and birthdays today. I haven't seen Taylor Lautner do anything recently, but I do love Twilight, admittedly. I do love it. Okay, moving on now. It's cold. I think I've said that a few times already this morning. So let's get a look at that chilly forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Hey, Emma, thank you very much. We have a small crowd advisory that is posted along the coast and now lasts until about Wednesday morning at around the midnight time frame as we're watching for some active surf on this Tuesday morning. Meanwhile, temperatures got rather cold overnight, although so far we've had some places like Bangor hit 0 degrees, still above 0 in Washington County. However, I'm sure if you look toward the northern parts of the state, a lot colder temperatures being observed there this morning. Meanwhile, we're rather quiet this morning for the time being. We will be under a partly cloudy sky today with a slight chance for some snow flurries in a few spots. Let's zoom things out. The rest of the Northeast is rather quiet, but look at this, a system developing that's bringing some snow to other parts of the country. At this moment in time, we'll have our return for a system to pass through later on this week. But futurecast in the short term, partly cloudy today, slight chance for flurries early tonight before the clouds begin to break up. Some gusty winds today reaching up to about 25 miles per hour at times. Those will calm down overnight and looking pretty good for the daytime tomorrow. So for today, we have upper 20s, partly cloudy, a few flurries out there. Southwest wind getting up to around 25 miles per hour. Tonight, 0 degrees, partly cloudy, a few flurries. North wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing clouds moving in, slight chance for flurries. Temperatures warming into the 20s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Emma?
Warming into the 20s, he says. We use that word warming very loosely in Maine winters. Okay, well, accidents do happen. So when a new 2024 electric Mustang was being delivered to Darlings in Bangor and fell off the car-carrying trailer, the dealership decided to gift it to United Technology Center. And now it's up to the students to repair it and make it roadworthy again. Our Jody Hersey has the story.
I think this is the first electric vehicle that's come through the collision repair.
It's a rarity for the students in the Auto Body Collision Repair Program at United Technology Center to be gifted a brand new set of wheels to work on. But thanks to Darlings, these high schoolers have the chance to get their hands on a damaged 2024 electric Mustang Mach-E.
It looked like a perfect project because most of the damage was cosmetic.
This car rolled over on its way to the Darlings dealership, and the whole side of the car got crushed. So we got the front fender, rear quarter, and 2 doors that need to be fixed.
High school junior CJ Yarnish has always been passionate about cars.
I think that it is a great opportunity to learn. The other vehicles that I've worked on were steel, and this one, all the body panels are aluminum.
High school senior Brady Eaglin loves the challenge of repairing this Mustang to its former glory.
Nothing is the same. Each car is different in their own way. It's like a new challenge each time. If you've seen this side, all beat to crap, and it'll come out and look pretty and blue like this at the end. It's gorgeous at the end.
When the repairs are complete, it will be Jadon Johnson's turn to put on the finishing touches with paint.
If you're going too fast, it's going to be too light of a coat. It's not going to work. If you're going too slow, it's going to get all runny. You got to be pretty good with your hands.
UTC automotive instructor James Luna says this has been a valuable experience for students and one they'll benefit from after graduation.
That's one of my goals, is to make sure I expose them to every aspect of collision repair. And then it's up to the individual student to take and run with that.
In Bangor, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
UTC is such a great place for kids to learn, and it looks like they're really enjoying it too. What a great project. All right, right after the break, Tyler Cruz will have our sports updates. We'll be right back.
Taking the time to savor Thomas's crunchy yet soft bagels.
Thanks, Tom.
It's Tom, actually.
Right, Tom.
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 You doing that on purpose?
Tam.
Tam.
How have we got to town?
Huzzah! A toast to breakfast.
Welcome to Residential Roofers, your trusted local contractor for over 30 years. From groundwork to roofing, siding, windows, and doors, we've been transforming homes and businesses with premium craftsmanship and materials. We understand the value of your investment. That's why we're committed to your complete satisfaction, whether it's enhancing curb appeal or improving functionality. Ready to bring your vision to life? Call us today for a no-obligation, free estimate at 991-1502. Trust your home to Residential Roofers.
If you haven't walked through the showroom at Davis Brothers Furniture in a while, we invite you to come take a look. At Davis Brothers, we've always strived to stand out from the rest. For decades now, the goal has been the same. Give people a reason to travel from all over the state and beyond to Davis Brothers Furniture in Guilford. Everything in our showroom is designed with you in mind, from a rustic lodge and barn look to traditional and even contemporary furniture. It's more than just a unique look, it's a lifestyle. Davis Brothers Furniture, deliberately different.
I love your nervous smile, your giant heart, and knowing what melts you.
The irresistibly smooth chocolate of Lindor, made to melt the one you love this Valentine's.
Hey, good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Every day of your life.
Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. We'll start on the basketball court up here. It was a special moment on Friday night in Brewer where one senior made school history. Brewer senior girls basketball standout Allie Flagg recorded her 1,000th career point on Friday night against Bangor, draining a three-pointer from the Witches logo at the end of the third quarter to reach the milestone. She's the first girl in 45 years to reach the 1,000-point mark at Brewer and just the second in school history. Here's how it sounded, and she says it simply felt amazing.
God, it was amazing. It's something that I've been looking forward to for a while, and a lot of my friends drove up to watch and family, so I really wanted to get it. It felt like amazing. Literally, that's the word that I just keep saying. It was amazing, like having everyone feel so excited for me, and it was just amazing.
Like we said, Flagg is just the second girl in school history with 1,000 career points next to her name. And to do it on her senior night is something special, too. She's been a leader in the Witches Clubhouse for the last few years, which makes Friday even more special. And like any senior, even without the 1,000-point milestone, senior night is always bittersweet.
Because I know a lot of the younger girls look up to me, and they're always cheering on at the game, so to give them something to kind of work for, you know what I mean? It feels great. I think it's bittersweet. I'm lucky that I have something that makes saying goodbye so hard, I would say. To have teammates and such a strong community behind me, it's bittersweet. It's great that I was here, but I'm sad that I have to leave soon.
Big congratulations to her. The Maine High School basketball tournament gets underway in just a few days' time, tipping off at 4 p.m. on Friday. But first, the prelims for classes B, C, and D. The girls play Tuesday. Let's check that schedule out. In Class B, John Baptist hosts Washington Academy. Herman will host Belfast, and Maranacook, they take a trip up to Presque Isle. In Class C, Hodgdon heads to Mount View. Calais will host George Stevens, and Dexter welcomes Fort Fairfield into town. Machias also hosts Sumner, while Central and Bucksport play in that 8-9 matchup in Class C. And finally, for Class D, Ashland will host Washburn, Katahdin hosts Jonesport Beals, and Stearns and Southern Aroostook battle for that 8-9 spot. Wishing everybody luck there. Let's stay with some basketball now. Mr. and Miss Maine basketball semifinalists were released this weekend. First on WMTW in Portland, here are our 10 semifinalists. The award goes out to the best senior basketball players in the state. They'll get the list down to 3 in the coming weeks. We'll start on the left side with the boys. Leo McNabb of Cheverus, Ding Maywin of Edward Little, Kennebunk's Theo Powell, Gabe Lash from Madomic Valley, Jameer Rose from Noble, Manny Hidalgo from South Portland, and Emmett Byther from Old Town, along with Jace Bessie from Spruce Mountain, Grady Dixon from Wyndham, and Wyatt Benoit from Thornton Academy. For Miss Maine, it's Ella Pelletier from Oxford Hills, Avery Bessie from Spruce Mountain, Madeline Depre from Caribou, Julia Reed from Gorham, Lexi Morin from Brunswick, Lily Oliver from Fort Kent, Isabella Morelli from Gray New Gloucester, Katana Williamson from Madomic Valley, Aubriana Hoos from Oceanside, and Abby Morrill from Coney. Congratulations to all of them. Some outstanding careers there. Let's stay on the court now. It was a 2-0 week for Maine men's hoops as they improve to 8-2 on the year in America East play. After leading the team in scoring in both wins, Maine's A.J. Lopez earned the America East Player of the Week award. In a win over NJIT on Thursday night, Lopez led Maine with 23 points on 6 of 12 shooting from the field. On Saturday, in a dominant 23-point win over UMBC, he paced the Black Bears with 17 points and added 5 rebounds as well. It's Lopez's first time winning the honor and the 4th time this season a Black Bear has been named the Conference Player of the Week. Maine is off until Saturday when they host the University of Vermont. Finally, down to Miami, the Celtics looking to make it 2 in a row, taking on the Heat. Bam Adebayo and the Jimmy Butler-less Miami Heat hosting the Celtics, who have won 5 of their last 6. First quarter, Heat up. Bam gets it at the free throw line here and knocks down the jumper. That puts Miami up by 11. Second quarter now, Celtics have erased the deficit. Peyton Pritchard, great pass to Sam Hauser in the corner. Hauser with 5 threes in the first half. Later in the half, Tatum has it on Andrew Wiggins. His step-back 3 is money. This was his first basket of the game, and it started a run that spanned all the way into the third quarter. Here he is attacking the paint, gets in the hole, and gets it to go. One more time, here he comes through contact, the and one. A 20-point third quarter for Jason Tatum. The Celtics go on to win 103-85. Right, make that 6 of their last 7 games. That is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
Save thousands on your new garage doors during the double rebate event at PDQ Door. Choose from several beautiful Clopay garage doors and get up to a $250 online rebate, and PDQ Door will instantly double it to save you $500. Buy 4 garage doors and get up to $1,000 in rebates, and PDQ Door will instantly double it to save you $2,000. Find a door you adore during our double rebate event for a limited time only.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
And for the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Jacqueline Lee.
Green Day's music has inspired a hit Broadway show, and now it's inspired a movie. New Year's Rev follows 3 bandmates who road trip to LA believing they'll be opening for Green Day on New Year's Eve. The movie, developed with the participation of Green Day, is based on the band's own experiences on the road.
Still too little, buddy.
Budweiser's ad, First Delivery, won USA Today's annual ad meter ranking of Super Bowl ads.
Shells! You got anything more boutique?
But Booking.com's ad, Get Your Stay Ridiculously Right, starring the Muppets, was top in YouTube views on game day Sunday. More stars have been added to the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary special. Adam Sandler, Will Ferrell, Tina Fey, Seth Meyers, Chris Rock, Eddie Murphy, Jason Sudeikis, and original cast members Chevy Chase, Jane Curtin, Garrett Morris, and Lorraine Newman will all be on hand for the February 16th show on NBC.
I'm all over this network. I need to have a say in the future of this place.
And Jennifer Aniston is 56 today. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Los Angeles.
All right, now here's meteorologist Evan Biggs with one final look at our full 5-day forecast.
Hey, Emma, thank you very much. We have a small craft advisory that is posted until midnight as we head towards early Wednesday morning. We will still be dealing with some active surf, at least until that time frame for the highlighted areas. Let's check in on the wave heights. Not too bad at the moment at around 2 to 3 feet according to the buoys. A little further out towards sea, still a little bit more active at around 3 to 7 feet. We'll see this area pick up a little bit today with some gusty winds that will be on the way. In the short term right now, we're rather quiet this morning. We'll be under a partly cloudy sky today. Slight chances for flurries will exist today and early this evening before the clouds begin to break up. Meanwhile, while the northeast is quiet, we have a bigger system that's starting to develop, bringing some showers, even some storms to a few spots of the U.S. and snow to other areas as well. We will be watching for a system that will be passing through later on this week that will give us the opportunity for a wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. In the short term, though, we will be under a partly cloudy sky today with a slight chance for flurries. Also a slight chance for flurries early this evening that will be tapering off overnight as the clouds break up. And then for tomorrow, sunshine to start. Overall, a pretty nice day. A few passing clouds later on. By Wednesday night to Thursday morning, clouds move in ahead of our next system, which will start off as snow. So let's talk about the system that will be moving in Wednesday night to parts of Thursday morning. By Thursday morning, we have gusty winds starting off as a little bit of snow, and then throughout the day, we will have warmer air moving in. So by around the afternoon, that wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow will be possible in some areas. Notice maybe even some rain along the coast, but this system will be a fast mover as it tracks off to the north and east. There it is by 7 p.m. Still hitting parts of the eastern areas of Maine, but then it will start to clear out Thursday night into parts of Friday morning. We'll break this down a little bit more as we get a bit closer. In the short term for today, gusty winds up to 20 to 25 miles miles per hour today are possible. Calming down later on tonight, especially calming down as we head towards the daytime tomorrow. So for today, we have upper 20s, partly cloudy, a few flurries. Southwest wind getting up to around 25 miles per hour. And then by tonight, 0 degrees, partly cloudy, a few flurries out there, especially early on. North wind getting up to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow, lower 20s, partly cloudy, north wind at about 5 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast showing a wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow likely on Thursday with highs in the low 30s. Valentine's Day, mostly sunny, highs in the low 20s. Mid-20s Saturday, mostly cloudy with a slight chance for snow.
You come alive in the dead of winter and start work early on snow days because snowed in is not an option. The Kubota Snow lineup of compact tractors, RTVs, and versatile attachments are built to move, plow, blow, and thrive in the winter. So when the snow falls, you can rise to meet it. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 84 months, plus save up to $300.
Available at Doors Equipment, 1468 Outer Hammond Street, Bangor.
Ghirardelli Intense Dark. Bold. Rich. Intensely delicious dark chocolate. Ghirardelli Intense Dark makes life a bite better.
16 counties in our state, Cumberland and Franklin, Piscataqua and Kennebec, Oxford and Muskegon. 2, 3, 4, Water, Washington and York, Lincoln, Knox and Hancock, Saginaw and Somerset, Aroostook and Penobscot.
You bought your Toyota because Toyota is the longest lasting brand. You put your trust in Toyota's reputation for quality. Now put your trust in Toyota-trained certified technicians who install genuine Toyota parts to help keep your Toyota a Toyota. Get your Toyota ready for the year's coldest and harshest weather. See your New England Toyota dealer for affordable service offers. Trust the experts at Toyota Service Centers and keep your Toyota a Toyota.
2 hours to make your move. They're playing a game with us.
The fun has just begun.
And they're watching us. He's not going to stop until he gets a win.
Valentine's Day is a time to say I love you to those that are important to you. A couple from Heartland is turning that message into action to make more students in several local schools feel special. They and their children put together more than 5,000 Valentine's Day cards with pencils and lollipops. They started doing it 4 years ago, and every year they try to add a new school. This year, they included Dexter Regional High School.
It just seemed like a great opportunity for us to jump on board, allowing each one of our students to feel a little special, at least on one day. Nobody gets left out, everybody gets a Valentine's. It just seemed like the right thing to do and a great opportunity, and we were all for it.
That was really a dream of mine, to make sure that everybody felt loved on Valentine's Day and included as part of that.
Davis says it takes a couple of weeks for them to put all the Valentines together. She says it's worth the reward of knowing it makes someone smile and feel loved. And that is a huge work they're doing. And they're making people feel loved. I mean, that's such a good deed. I love it. Okay, and it looks like we're out of time. If you missed anything, you can head to foxbangor.com. And we'll continue broadcasting for another hour of Good Morning Maine next on Fox 22. I hope you have a great day.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
Starting May 1st, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles will begin issuing the new Pine Tree license plate. If you have a Chickadee plate, it will be replaced when you renew after May 1st at no additional charge. If you have a Chickadee plate number you want to keep, you can reserve it today online by searching Reserve My Plate and paying a one-time $25 fee. With your help, we can provide prompt and quality service to all Mainers. Brought to you by this station, the Maine Association of Broadcasters, and the Secretary of State.
Every answer tells a story.
What would you do if you found out your husband was a stripper?
Join them.
Join him. Oh, we taking stuff off, huh? Your turn.
But sometimes, don't tell it on national TV.
Give me something big you might take with you to the nude beach.
Binoculars.
Hey, girl. All right now.
Family Feud.
Yeah.
Weekdays at 9 on ABC7. Today on ABC7 News at Noon.
Hi, I'm Susan Farley. Coming up today, a man has been charged with murder in connection with a death in Norridge Walk. A bill to establish ambulance service in southern Penobscot County had a public hearing at the State House today. We'll talk with a firefighter from Maine that responded to the devastating wildfires in California. There's an ice carousel in Aroostook County, and an accident is giving some United Technology students a rare opportunity to learn. We'll see you tonight.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
You're watching ABC7 Bangor.
Good morning, America. 3 storms on the move. President Trump's new move on tariffs, in Disney World with the Super Bowl MVP. Triple threats on the move across the country. At least 26 states on snow, ice, and flood alerts from California to New Jersey. Ginger is tracking it all.
Deadly plane crash. The investigation after a small jet owned by Motley Crue singer Vince Neil slammed into a parked plane.
President Trump raises tariffs on steel and aluminum as consumers and companies brace for impact. Plus, Trump calls for the Gaza ceasefire to be canceled if all the hostages are not released by Saturday, as he threatens Jordan over the U.S. takeover of Gaza.
Egg hunt.
This is crazy. When there are no eggs left at Walmart, the shelves are bare.
As a nationwide shortage drives up prices, how some retailers are cracking down as